year doing this official school visitation in all our Catholic schools in the Archdiocese. What a blessing for me to visit all of you, beginning with this holy sacrifice of the Mass. As all of you have been taught well in theology, the Eucharist is the center and summit of our lives. It's important that our gathering, our time together on this feast of St. Patrick and in this Lenten season, we do first with this Eucharistic celebration. What I would like to focus on my reflection this morning is the word desire, the human longing. What is it that we want? Because that same question Jesus asked the man in the gospel, do you want to be well? At first, this seems like a strange question. Right? Perhaps the man said, why do you ask me that? You know that I wanted to be healed. And why would Jesus ask something so obvious? But Jesus is asking something deeper than just a physical healing. Jesus asked the man about the desire of his heart. What do you truly desire in life? And the gospel today gives us three kinds of desires. Desires that still exist in our world today, and perhaps desires that we can also relate with. First, we see the desire of the sick man to be healed. For 38 years, he lay beside the pool of Bethesda. He watched others enter the water and be healed, but he could not get there in time. When Jesus asked him if he wants to do well, the man answered, Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool. If you pay attention to these words, no one to put me into the pool, behind those words, we hear something very human about this person. The sense of loneliness, no one can put me there. Sense of frustration, I'm all by myself. More than that, the longing for help. Many people today carry similar desires. Not always physical sickness, but other struggles. Loneliness in life, anxiety, the pressure to succeed, fear about the future, or the feeling of not being good enough. Young people experience these struggles too. Yet the gospel reminds us that Jesus sees us. Just as he noticed the man lying by the pool, Jesus notices each one of us. His question remains the same. Do you want to be well? Christ desires to bring healing into our lives. Healing spiritually, emotionally, and physically. So that's the first desire from the man who wanted to be healed. The second desire, we see the desire of Jesus to do good. When Jesus is suffering, he responds with compassion. He tells the man, rise, take up your mat and walk. Immediately the man is healed. Jesus always desires life, healing, and freedom for people. Yet something surprising happens after the miracle. Instead of rejoicing that a man who had suffered for 38 years can now walk, some people become angry because Jesus performed the healing on the Sabbath. Rather than celebrating the goodness that has happened, they focus only on rules and control. Which leads me to a third kind of desire. The third type of desire that is expressed in the gospel is a desire of some religious leaders to control others. So you see the desire of the man to be well, to be healed. The desire of Jesus to do good, to help. But the leaders of the church, their desire to control on other people. Their concern is not healing of the man, but maintaining authority and power. And this kind of desire still exists today. Sometimes people care more about appearances, popularity, or influence than about what is truly good. But Jesus shows us a different path. Even when people oppose him, he continues to do good. Love is stronger than fear. This gospel invites us to reflect on our own lives lives, because every day we experience the same desires. The desire to be healed, the desire to do good, and sometimes the temptation to judge or control others. The real question is which desire will guide our lives. A spiritual writer once said that Christian discernment involves choosing the light of Christ and living out the consequences of that choice. Following Christ is not always easy. It requires courage and commitment. But when we choose the good, God strengthens us. So today we celebrate the Feast of St. Patrick. Our principal gave you an introduction about who St. Patrick is. When Patrick was a teenager, he was kidnapped and taken to Ireland as a slave. For 6 years he lived taking care of the sheep. And during that difficult time, he began to pray deeply, and his suffering awakened in him a new desire. And what was Patrick's desire as a young man? His desire was to serve God. Eventually, he escaped and returned home. Most people would have wanted to forget Ireland forever, yet Patrick felt something surprising. God was calling him to return to the very place where he had once been a slave. Patrick followed the call. He returned to Ireland not with anger, but with love and with a desire to share the gospel. Because of his courage and faith, an entire nation came to know Christ. So my dear students of Father Jimenez Memorial School, your desires matter. Who are the graduating class, members of the graduating class in here? I'm sure you have already figured out your desires in life. Choice of school, whether to stay in Guam or to leave the island, what course to take, what vocation to take. When I was here for the JRLTC, I think some of you expressed what your plans is after Father Jimenez. Your desires are important. Your desires matter. The world often tries to shape your desires, right? Through social media, through peer pressure, through ideas about success and popularity. But know that God is also speaking to your heart. God calls you to something greater, like St. Patrick, to live with integrity, to serve others, to seek truth, and to follow Christ. The deepest desire of every human heart is not fame, love, or success. The deepest desire is to love and to be loved by God. I hope that your time here at Father Jimenez, freshmen, seniors, would truly be a time well spent discerning, kind of being aware of what truly are the desires of your heart. It could be like that blind man, Lord, I wanted to be well, I wanted to be fine, to be okay. It could be like Jesus, the desire to do good. And sometimes the temptation, like the leaders of the church, the Pharisees, the desire to control, to dominate, to rule. I know you would say it's not applicable in sports, because the desire in sports is FD, to rule and to win. But in the day-to-day life, what is truly your heart's deepest desire? We pray for that grace that the Lord will show you, will reveal to you that your desires are also God's desire for each one of you.